Hey, hi everybody. This your boy HP Tech. Feel free to like and subscribe and get your boys followers up. Just kidding. Um, how you doing, Herbert or Herman? Herbert? You still on that Herb, man? Yeah, I know I have terrible jokes, but anyway, let me move forward with this. First of all, I'd like to say that nothing I say in this video is to offend you or to seem arrogant in any kind of way, but I do feel some type of way when people try to make or invent different things for themselves about Islam that are in some way biased. Now, I know I'm starting off this video already on kind of a left foot, but let me just go ahead and explain what I'm trying to say. So I read your article and whatnot, and we can go back to page one and show everybody else what your OP was. So you're talking about Psalm, which is the Arabic word for fasting, and you're bringing your own introduction and definition for what Psalm is and all these different things. But your conclusions, which this was way back in 2016, your conclusion back then and your conclusion now, which was the other day, I think, arrives at a very peculiar conclusion in which you think Psalm is just volunteering, helping the community do good actions and whatnot. You also arrive at a very peculiar conclusion where you say that Psalm, uh, thus does Allah make clear His ordinances to the people that they may become righteous. So out of this one line right here, at the end of the passage, you claim that the only purpose for Psalm is righteousness, is to become righteous. That's what Psalm is supposed to do, right? Well, yes, that's fine. Every good deed that we do is supposed to help us get closer to righteousness. And this verse is not even like directly speaking about Psalm itself. It's just saying that thus does Allah makes clear His ordinances to you in general about every single detail in the Quran, about every single detail in Islam, whether it's fasting, Hajj, Salat, Zakat, Sadaqat. All of those things makes it clear for us so that we may become righteous. So the way that you're trying to single this out as to mean that Psalm itself is the only is its purpose is to become righteous, and you take it and then you go a long way with it and you try to highlight all these things that make righteousness in that Psalm. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's what we call fishing, or that's some type of philosophical fallacy right there that you're making. So what what I see that is wrong with your ideology and your thinking is several different things. Like I said, you look at this specific line right here and try to make it conclude to Psalm meaning volunteering and all these other things. Now, when people do these kind of things, right away for me, it's right away a flash. Like it's right away a flag, a red flag right away. Why is it so? Because I know that behind this person is some clear bias that is driving you to make these conclusions. And it's not just a studious or wholesome or objective critical thinking, reasoning, or logic that is behind this person's statements. Not at all. And I don't mean to offend you by this, but I am very keen at looking through people. Now, most people to me, and I'm not saying everyone, but most people to me are like open books, see-through, glass. Okay, your statements, the abundance that comes out of your mouth, or the amount of letters that you type on the screen, for me, it tells me the content of your heart. So I can see by your statements that you have some bias, and it's clear. You've said it. You clearly pointed out in page 2 on your other post that you are now not any you're personally not fasting anymore. So that is already a red flag to me. Okay, and I'm not using just these few lines as or this one line as the key for why you're biased, but it's in your ideology itself, how you pick this one line and then decide to make it the core central value of what Psalm is. That's wrong. Psalm is not explained in 2187 as exactly as you're trying to make it. The explanation for Psalm is in 2185, and we've said that before. And you've said it yourself in your original post, and you said yourself in your original post what Psalm was. Shows the aim of Psalm is to become righteous. Shows the compensation for not doing Psalm is to feed poor. Shows to not eat properties among yourselves. What we know, some has become righteous, some has become compensation. You had it written somewhere here before. Anyway, you had it here somewhere where you acknowledge that verse 2184 through 2188 explained kind of what Psalm was, and you have it here. Okay, so then in my reply to me, you tell me that Psalm that 2185 doesn't really explain what Psalm is, but it instead is 2177. That's what you say to my reply. 207 verse we used to define when Psalm is. My concern in the topic is what is the Psalm. That's completely wrong. 2185 explains exactly what Psalm is. Like, you see how you try to cherry pick these different things to make it go along your way? That's completely wrong, okay? That's not the way we study scripture at all. 2185. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Month of Ramadan is that was revealed therein the Quran, a guidance for mankind and clear proofs of the guidance and the criterion. So here alone in this first passage, we right away we see, if I wanted to be like you, I could say that all alone, look, Psalm is a guidance for the mankind. That's what Psalm is. Or song is clear proofs of the guidance and the criterion. And just stop right there. That's not how we study. You can't just cherry pick something that you want. Look at the entirety of the passages, the entirety of the text, and analyze it wholesomely and genuinely. Not just because you stop fasting, so then you gotta like push that agenda. Okay, if you want to stop fasting, that's you. Even the Quran allows you to not fast and to pay or to volunteer charities and do other things. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that you have to try to change the whole interpretation for everyone universally just because you choose to. That's one thing that I always see with like converts that are westernized or like, from the West, that do something that is against scripture. Instead of just being like, you know what, I'm doing something wrong and I know it, and other people shouldn't do it. They always like, I'm doing something wrong, but I believe it is right. That's bullshit. Like, even all the like Sunni sectarian, as you guys like to call it, Arabs that I see, when they do something wrong, like maybe they drink or they smoke, they never try to justify it. They know they're doing the dirtiest and nastiest thing. They know they're not in a clean state of mind. They know that they're doing horrible things to themselves. And they don't try to justify or cover it up or try to make those things seem better at all. They make no excuses for it. But you guys, on the other hand, I don't know why you have this thing in you that, like, all of a sudden, because you do something different and you like it, you gotta try to change it for everyone. That's absolutely awful. The train thought behind that is horrific. So anyway, let me finish this verse real quick. So whoever witnesses among you the month, that he should fast in it, and whoever is sick or on a journey, the prescribed number from days other. Intends Allah for you the ease and not intends for you the hardship, so that you complete the prescribed period and that you magnify Allah for what He guided you, so that you may be grateful. Okay, so if you read this entire verse again on your own spare time, I'm not going to reread it again. You can see that the month of Ramadan is originally revealed the Quran, and all this is basically for commemoration, and that so we magnify God for what He guided us to, and that we may be grateful because He guided us to the Quran, to the truth, the guidance, the criterion, all these different great things that the Quran is. So that is why we fast, and we know that that Psalm is to abstain. I don't know why you're calling it Siyam or all these other different things, and you're bringing in the story of Mary to try to support what unfounded point or premise that you're trying to make. But either way, Psalm is abstaining. You can abstain from speaking, you can abstain from sex, you can abstain from eating, you can abstain from drinking, you can abstain from Free Minds Forum. You know what I mean? Like, you can abstain from several different things. So we understand what Psalm is. You don't have to try to bring in all these different things, try to confuse everyone. No, Psalm is to abstain, period. Abstain from anything, right? So Psalm, in this sense, for Ramadan, as God has declared it and given it to us, is to abstain from food and drink and sex, in mosques or during the day. You know what I mean? Like it's confined for you during the nighttime, just as eating with your wife. Obviously, someone who you are legally contracted with. You know, you're married to. Let's just put it in those terms. With. So those are the things that we fast from. Okay. So for you to say that, nah, I'm no longer fasting and all these other things are good. What is the last statement that you made? Matter of fact, sure, I'm having some issues with some issues with my internet. The last thing that you said was, let me explain you my view regarding fasting. Actually, fasting for drink is dangerous for your kidneys, blah blah blah. Understanding all these different things that are unfounded. There's no scientific evidence for that. In fact, many doctors know that the way that you fast, in call it sectarian, call it whatever in Islam, is actually healthy for you. Okay. Now I do suspect there are many different things that you might be doing while you're fasting that can in fact be dangerous to you. Like when I was fasting, I was also working out, which is not really good for your kidneys, and that is true. You're already dehydrated and all these different things. But if you fast responsibly, there should be no issues. And if you cannot fast, that's fine. There's always an expiation. God gives us expiation in the Quran. But the way that you're trying to now um, dictate for yourself, and you're the one who's saying, no, you know what, actually fasting is not so good, blah blah blah, and I'll give you support for why it's not good. It's as if you're trying to say that God doesn't know what he should dictate to his own people, to his own servants, as to what to do for the month of Ramadan. In fact, God says it is better to fast if you know. So, I mean, that's horrible, horrible. And I didn't want to type all this. I really wanted you to hear my voice on this. I think what you're implying in the end is horrible. I'm not saying you're a horrible person. I'm not trying to be offensive to you. But I just want to let you know clearly that that kind of ideology, that kind of thinking, that kind of agenda pushing, that kind of manipulativeness is absolutely horrible. It is like next to mushrik kufr like level, because you're now saying that God is not expert enough to tell people to fast. That you know better. You know all these different scientific facts that God didn't know back then, right? And that people should in fact stay away from fasting because it's dangerous for the kidneys, blah blah blah, and all the different things. Man, people have been fasting for thousands of years, man, thousands of years, and the level of danger or harm that has happened to people is not at all. It's negligible. It's negligible. Man. And if God, everybody has their fate written on their neck. If you're gonna die, you're gonna die no matter what. If you're meant to die at a certain spot, you would even walk from your house to that spot, and you will die exactly at the spot, exactly at the time. It is written. So if you gotta fast, just fast. If you're gonna die fasting, mashallah, man, you know what I mean? Thank God, you died doing something good. You died as a Muslim, okay? You died in jihad. You died giving your life, your wealth and life fully to the cause of God, believing that you're doing something good. So even if that happens, then so what? You know what I mean? But even then, like, I really think that you don't have all the supporting data and evidence to prove what you're saying is actually correct. And yeah, so in the end, just shouting out to you, Herbert, Herman, whatever your name is. Yeah, just kind of be careful with the way that you present things, especially online. You never know. I don't know if you're a sincere person or not. I don't know if you're an agent. I don't know if you work for the page or not. But if you're a sincere person out there who just wants to share his knowledge and wants to help people in the ummah, then brother, please, man, like, don't put material like this again. Like, yeah, especially without concrete evidence, and especially when you're pushing your own agenda. This is clear to me, clear as day and night. You know what I mean? Like, you stop fasting, you know, for your whatever reason that's happening to you, and now you want everybody else to stop fasting too. No, that's wrong. You know what I mean? So fix that.